figured it's gonna look a lot like yesterday, so we'll probably have some extra time at the end too. Just a heads up, think about things that you have to get done. Oh, hey, he's Jonas now.
Yay!
So it's fixed.
They were working on it.
Jonas, your name actually shows up as Jonas now. It's been fixed. Alright. We have everyone. We are only left with one person in class again today, so it's going to be a little quiet over here. But today is going to look again a lot like yesterday, because we're going over another lesson of rules with integers. Today is just multiplication instead of addition. If you looked at the classroom, that is our agenda for today. There's just one little switch because we are not going to do an ed puzzle. We're going to do it live. It's a short lesson today. It's not going to take a whole lot of time. So I'm hoping that we'll have some time at the end where you guys can work on your Friday lesson plans again. Or not your lesson plans, your to-do list that I sent you on Friday. So let's get started. We're going to do a bell ringer similar to yesterday. We're going to talk about what it looks like to have two integers, make some predictions about whether their outcomes will be positive or negative. Let me share a screen with you. Okay. So keeping in mind that multiplication is really just a repeated addition, if we have two positive numbers, so if we have 3 times 4, what do we think that product will be, positive or negative? Ethan, what do you think?
Positive.
Positive. So we have one positive. What about Zoom? Zoom, can I have a thumbs up if you think it'll be positive, thumbs down if you think it'll be negative? Jonas, I see your thumbs up, thank you. Jaden, thank you. Riley, awesome. Henry, what's your prediction?
It's positive.
Positive, right. So it is going to be positive. Because if we're looking at this, we're really just adding 3 together 4 times. So let's look at if we have a negative number and a positive number. What are we thinking? What's our prediction for this one? We have a negative number and a positive number. Jonas, you think it'll be positive? Riley, what's your question, or do you have a prediction?
Prediction.
Okay, what do you got? What do you think it's going to be? You think it'll be positive? Okay. What do you think, Ethan?
Negative.
Ethan thinks negative, or a different idea. Jaden, what do you think? Do you have an idea? You think it might be positive? Okay. That is exactly what we're going to talk about today. So let's dive into that. You're going to need your journals now, so go ahead and pop out those binders. And we are on the page after yesterday's page. Multiplying integers. Top should look like that. Jonas, do you have a question? Okay, no worries. I will lower it. Sorry about that. Okay. So we are on multiplying integers, and our LAQ for today is what are the 4 rules for multiplying integers, and how can we use those rules to check our work? It's pretty important, including what we did yesterday, to make sure that we can apply these rules to say, okay, if I'm adding two positive numbers and I somehow end up with a negative number, I should know that, whoa, 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 something is wrong here, and I can go back and check my work. For today's I can statement, multiply integers using the multiplication rules. That is our goal for the end of today. We should be able to multiply two integers together and know if we've got a right or a wrong answer based upon if it's positive or negative. This is a great way to check your work. And it's super important that we check our work. In our IXL, sometimes we'll make little mistakes, and we can get to our 70 a whole lot faster if we just slow down a little bit. These tools can be a really good way to work on that. No rush, no rush. The rest of these boxes aren't very long, I promise. I shortened them down. Everyone here is finished taking their notes. Does anybody over Zoom need more time to fill in that box? No, Jonas, you're good? Thank you for replying. Okay. So, we can find the outcome of a product by looking at how many negatives there are. So we're going to look at this table down here to see if we can find a pattern based upon the number of negatives and the outcome, whether it's going to be positive or negative. So, I'm sorry, Jonas, what? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to start working in on this chart. So we're going to see if we can find a pattern between the number of negatives and the outcome of our equation. So if I don't have any negatives, I have 0 negatives, that would be a problem, just like doing 2 times 2. Both of my numbers are positive. Any equation that has 2 positive numbers, our outcome is always going to be positive. Everyone agreed to that on our bell ringer, so we already know that one. So now if I have 1 negative, if I add 1 times negative 1, if I'm multiplying a positive by a negative, I'm going to have a negative outcome. So I have 1 negative, my outcome is negative. If I have 2 negatives, so if I was doing -1 times -1, any predictions on what my outcome of this one will be? Ethan, what do you think?
Positive.
Ethan thinks positive. How about over Zoom? What are our predictions? Jaden, what do you think? You think positive? That's a pretty good guess. Anybody else? Jonas, go ahead. Negative. So if we have 2 negatives, our outcome is going to be positive. How many of you have heard that phrase that goes, 2 wrongs can make a right? Ethan says yes. Anybody over Zoom? You heard that phrase before? No? Well, it's a common phrase sometimes people say. It's not really true in real life. If you do two wrong things, it definitely doesn't make you right. But in math, occasionally it is right. If we have two negatives, our outcome is going to be positive. Oops. So now let's think about three negatives. If you look at our chart, you're going to start to see a bit of a pattern developing. So based off of what we have so far, three negatives, can I have thumbs up if you're thinking positive and thumbs down if you're thinking negative? So we have three negatives. Do you think our outcome will be either positive or will it be negative? Got one guess for negative. Ethan says negative. Negative. Good guess, Riley. Jaden, Henry, anything? Do you have an idea?
Yeah, negative.
Okay. All right. It is negative. So if I have four negatives, keeping on with our pattern, my outcome is going to be positive. So the pattern that we just observed, if we have an odd number of negatives, our outcome is going to be negative. If we have an even amount of negatives, our outcome is going to be positive. And that'll apply for as long of an equation as you can think of. So our example right below that, we have -1 multiplied together 25 times. 25, is that odd or even? Henry, is 25 odd or even?
Even.
Odd, right, 25 is odd. So now, based on the fact that 25 is an odd number, is my answer going to be positive or negative? Ethan, what do you think?
Negative.
Negative, right. I have 25, -1 multiplied 25 times, so my answer is going to be negative. Okay. Let's get into these multiplication rules a little bit. We already said that a positive times a positive, we talked about this in our bell ringer, is going to be positive, right? So our next rule, we have one negative number. So based off of our chart, who can tell me with the raise of their hand whether a positive times a negative will have a positive or negative outcome? There's one negative number, so you can look back at your chart. Ethan's got it. Anybody from Zoom have an idea? You want to raise your hand or give a thumbs up or thumbs down? Jaden, what do you think? Look back at your chart. We said if we have one negative, what's the outcome going to be? Negative. Yep, there you go. Oops, turn off my highlighter. Okay, so the next one is just flipped. Our negative would come first in our equations. What's it going to be, Ethan?
Negative.
Negative. Okay, now we have a negative times a negative, so we have two negative numbers. What do we think this one's going to be, positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. Riley, do you agree? I see your hand. Yeah? Perfect. Thanks for your thumbs up. Right, any negative times a negative number is going to be positive. So we'll look at a couple examples. I'd actually like to give you, I'm going to give you a minute. I want you to go ahead and fill in those 4 boxes. If you need to use a calculator the first time to figure out what 12 times 3 is, you are more than welcome to. But after that, your products are all going to be the same. You just have to manipulate or change whether they are positive or negative. I'll give you a minute, like everyone, to fill in those 4 boxes. Give you another few seconds to wrap that up. Sorry, flipping it upside down on you. I'm going to go right through the 4 of you that are on Zoom. We have 4 examples. So in a second, not right now, I'm going to have Henry, you're going to answer 12 times 3 for me. Jaden, you're going to answer 12 times -3. Jonas, I'd like you to answer -12 times 3. And Riley, I'm going to have you answer -12 times -3. So not yet, but be ready to answer that one. So Henry, you have the first one. Jaden, you have the second one. Jonas, you have the third one. And Riley, you have the fourth one. Get it all filled in? Perfect. All right, nice job. Okay, Henry, we're ready. Can you tell us what 12 times 3 is?
36.
Perfect. Jaden, can I have 12 times -3? 12 times 3 was 36. So remember, if we have one negative, our outcome is negative. You have your math right.
Yeah.
So if 12 times 3 is 36, Jaden, listen, 12 times 3 is 36. But now we have one negative, which means that our outcome is going to be negative. So your math is the same. We're still doing 12 times 3. It is going to be -36. Nice job. Okay, Riley, next one. -12 times 3. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Jonas. My apologies. Your name's flipped around on my screen. Jonas, go ahead.
Alright, it's still 36. And I have a minus.
Right? Correct. -36. And Riley, the last one. -12 times -3. What do you got, Riley? +36. Wonderful. All right. Not gonna need those. So, next you have practice problems on the back. There are 8 of them. I would love everyone to go ahead and run through those. Then you can take a break, let your brain have a break, walk around a little bit. After that, we'll come back. We're going to review our practice problems. I made another Kahoot. I said today was a lot like yesterday, so I kept a Kahoot too. And then after that, there will be an IXL.
When are we going back?
Yep, so I was just about to tell you that. Good question. I'm going to give you just over 15 minutes. So I'd like everyone, I'll give you 20 minutes. Come back at 1:20. So you have 10 minutes to do your problems and then 10 minutes to take a break. If you have extra time, you can work on your Friday to-do list, but everyone needs to be back on Zoom at 1:20 to go over our practice problems.
Is it okay if we stay on it?
If you want to stay on it, that is absolutely fine. I'll keep it open. Okay. I will see everyone back at 1:20. What's up, Riley?
I'm sorry, when are we coming back again?
You're going to come back at 1:20. You have 20 minutes. help you? Yeah, of course. Are you looking at the first one? Okay, are you looking at, negative 8 times 9? Okay, so you can absolutely use your calculator if you're struggling with the math part of it. So if you don't know what 8 times 9 is, you can go ahead and plug that into a calculator. And then we have one negative, so is my outcome going to be positive or negative? If you have one negative, go back and look at that chart on the front. Negative, right. Did you plug 8 times 9 into a calculator, or do you know what 8 times 9 is? Yeah, that would work. You got it. Nice job. Do you want to talk to the second one, or do you think you can try it on your own? Okay, well, you're welcome to stay on Zoom.